Hello, welcome to the Emerald Necklace Storytime. My name is Valerie Stephens, and I tell stories. Well, my first story for you is simply called The Ant Story. Now, when I finish this story, there is an activity that goes along with this story. You can find it online at emeraldnecklace.org/storytelling. But first, the story. One day, an ant was walking down the road and he stopped. He saw a huge breadcrumb with guava jelly. Mmm. Ants love guava jelly. So he decided he would take this breadcrumb home to feed his family. Well, he got behind the breadcrumb and he started to push. He pushed and he pushed and he pushed, but he couldn't move the breadcrumb. So he sat down on the ground next to the breadcrumb and he began to think how to get it home to feed his family. Well, as he sat there thinking about it, down the road came a bee. Now, this bee had been in the field over yonder, and he was loaded down with pollen on his way to his hive. He was flying low and slow. And the ant stopped the bee and said, "Excuse me, can you please help me move my breadcrumb? You see, I'm too small. I can't move it by myself." And the bee thought about it. And then he said, "No, I have to get my pollen back to my hive." And he flew away. Well, the ant felt bad, but he was far more concerned with getting the breadcrumb home to feed his family. So he continued to sit there. Well, as he sat there, down the road came a butterfly with beautiful wings. And she knew it too. This was a butterfly with an attitude. She flew very slowly so that all the other animals could see her beautiful wings, and she flew over to the ant, and the ant said to the butterfly, "Excuse me, can you please help me move my breadcrumb? You see, I can't move it by myself. I'm too small." The butterfly thought about it. And then she said, "No, I might get my wings dirty. And I'm much too beautiful to get my wings dirty." And flew off very slowly again. Well, the ant felt bad. But he continued to think about how to get this breadcrumb home to feed his family. He sat and thought and thought. Oh, down the road came a beetle, a trickster beetle. This beetle loved to play practical jokes on all the other animals. This beetle giggled when he walked. And the ant stopped the beetle and said, "Excuse me, can you please help me move my breadcrumb? You see, I'm too small. I can't move it by myself." The beetle thought. And he said, "Sure, I'll help you." He walked around the breadcrumb He bent down and he took a big bite. Hum! I helped you, he said. I helped you by making the breadcrumb smaller. And went on down the path. How do you think the ant felt? Sad, bad, and a little mad. You see, the ant was the kind of ant, when anybody asked for his help, he was always there for them. And now it seemed like nobody wanted to help him. And all he wanted to do was feed his family. Well, he continued to think about it. Well, way up in a tree, watching all of this, was a spider. A grandmother spider. Now, you don't get to be a grandparent without learning something along the way. She had gotten tired of listening to the ant say, I can't do this, I can't do that, and she decided she was going to do something about it. So she spun a web down, down, down to the path and over to the ant. And the ant said to Grandmother Spider, Excuse me, can you please help me move my breadcrumb? You see, I'm too small. I can't move it by myself. Grandmother Spider said, I'll help you. I will help you by weaving a web around that breadcrumb and taking it back to my family. And that's what she started to do. She started to weave a web around and around and around, round and around the breadcrumb. And the ant jumped up and he said, No, that's my breadcrumb. And he got behind the breadcrumb and he started to push. He pushed and he pushed and he pushed. And before he knew it, he had pushed that breadcrumb all the way to his anthill. He looked at Grandmother Spider. Well, Grandmother Spider looked at him and she said, See, I knew you could do it. You can do anything you set your mind to. The ant thought about what Grandmother Spider said, and then he turned to her and he said, Thank you. And that night, the ant and all of his family had a wonderful dinner of breadcrumb and guava jelly. Ants love guava jelly. This is my story. Believe it or not. Now, this is what I would like you to do. I want you to use your imagination and think, what if all of a sudden you could shrink smaller and smaller and smaller to the size of an ant? If you were the size of an ant, what would the world look to you? I want you to take a little hike using your imagination and imagine the world from an ant's eye view. What would a blade of grass look like? What would a stone look like? What would a petal look like? You can take this little hike through one of the parks in the Emerald Necklace, or you can take this hike through your yard, or you can take this hike right along the sidewalk in front of your house, what would it look like? What would your world look like? I want you to create a story about what you saw. And I want you to give your new aunt a name. What would you name your aunt? I hope you have fun with this. I'm excited. What will your imagination do for you? Well, until the next time, enjoy your imagination and enjoy the parks and the Emerald Necklace. They are a treasure. There was a time when the earth was not as we know it. The earth was completely covered with water. All the animals lived right there in the water. And high above the water, there was a place called Skyland. That's where all the humans lived. In the center of Skyland, there was this beautiful tree. It had four sacred roots going into the four directions. Well, the ancient chief, Sky Chief, ruled Skyland, and he and his wife were expecting a baby. One night, Sky Woman had a dream. That next morning, she told Sky Chief about this dream. She had dreamt that that sacred tree had been pulled up. Ooh. Sky Chief was sad, but which was their custom. If anyone had had a powerful dream, everyone did all that they could to make it happen. Sky Chief gathered together the strongest in Skyland, and they came around the tree and began to pull. They pulled once. They pulled twice. They pulled 3 times. But they couldn't uproot the tree. Sky Chief decided he would try. He put his strong arms around the tree, and he too began to pull. He pulled up once. He pulled up twice. He pulled up 3 times. And up came the tree. He laid it on its side. Now, where the tree had stood, there was this big hole. Sky Woman went and grabbed one of the roots of the sacred tree and bent down to look in the hole. Oh! She fell in. She started to float down, down, down through the sky. Some of the animals looked up. Oh, something's falling. Well, 2 swans swam up with their beautiful strong wings and caught Sky Woman right into the center of them and slowly brought her down to the water. All of the animals looked at her. The duck said, "She can't live here. She doesn't have webbed feet. You can't live in the water if you don't have webbed feet." All the animals looked. Sure enough, she didn't have webbed feet. "What are we going to do with her? No webbed feet." All the animals looked around. They didn't know what to do. And then they heard a voice. Out swam Great Bear. "I heard that way down at the bottom of water, there's this thing called Earth. I think if someone could go down there and bring it up, then she could stand on that. Interesting idea. But who would swim to the bottom to get Earth? Out came Beaver. I can do it. Beaver was always known for being very strong. And sure enough, Beaver went in the center and dove into the water. Beaver swam down, down, down through the water where he had never been before, deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into the water and deeper and Beaver got very tired and could go no further. And so he started to float up, up, up. And he swam to the back. I can do it, said Loon. Loon, with his strong wings, always was known to be a very strong swimmer. And sure enough, Loon went right into the center and dove in. Down, 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 Loon started to swim, and down, down, down through the water, deeper than he had ever been, and down, down, down. All around was dark, and Loon continued to swim down, 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 and then, Loon's wings got very, very tired. And he, too, started to float up, up, up through the water. He swam over to the side. All the animals looked. Who'd go down? Would you go now? I'm not going. Why don't you? Way out from the back was a little voice. I'll try. Everybody looked. It was a little muskrat, the smallest little muskrat. All the animals looked. But Muskrat did not care. Muskrat wanted to try, and so she did. She dove into the water and swam down and down and down until all around was dark, and her small, small arms and legs got tired, but she was determined that she could do this, and she went down, down, down. All around her was dark. She didn't care. She could do it. Her heart was strong. Down, down, down she went, and every ounce of strength she gave, and down, and she put out one paw, and before she knew it, it touched the bottom. She closed it quickly and started to float up through the water. Up, up, up. With all the might she had left, she floated up, 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 and splashed up through the water. All the animals looked at her. Muskrat took her small paw and reached out and opened it up. Right in the center of her small paw was Earth. Ooh. Uh-oh. Where are we going to put it? All the animals started to look around. They didn't know. Out from the water slowly swam Great Turtle. Put it on my back. Muskrat swam over to Turtle and sprinkled the earth on Turtle's back. As soon as it touched Turtle's back, earth got bigger and bigger and wider and larger and bigger than anything any of the animals had ever seen in their lives. Oh, The swans brought Sky Woman over to this earth, and she stepped out on it. It was solid. In her hands were seeds from the sacred tree. She took those seeds and she put them all over the earth. And as soon as they touched that sweet earth, they began to blossom. And that's where Sky Woman lived. And that's where Sky Woman had her baby. And that's how the earth began on Turtle's back. This is our story. Believe it or not. I want you to do something after hearing that story. I want you to use your imagination. Have you ever seen a turtle's shell? Well, on the top of a turtle's shell is very rough and bumpy. But on the bottom of the turtle's shell is smooth. They're the opposite. Rough and smooth. Have you seen anything else that can be rough and others can be smooth? Think. Use your imagination. There are rocks out there that are rough and smooth. There are leaves out there that are rough and smooth. What do you think you could find that is rough and smooth? You might be able to find it out in the park. You could find it in your yard. You could find them in your home. Remember, rough, like the turtle's shell on top, and smooth, like the turtle's shell on the bottom. Smooth and rough. Don't forget, use your imagination. This will be fun. Well, until the next time, take care.